Welcome to Discussing Dad Life, where we break down bullshit so you don't have to. I'm Void. This is No, and let's go.
We have no life. Don't mind us.
No, You're recording.
God. We are recording, and we're on.
See?
Dude, that was still in the intro when he did that, so they have no idea why you just barked. That's awesome.
They just comes on. What the? You're welcome.
Yeah, fan favorite Fridays.
Fan favorite Friday.
Best intro ever.
All right, I'm done.
All right. So you sent a video, and this is, I'm not sure what this one's about.
Okay, so I know that you're like really into the like politics. Like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you're way better at it than me. And I came across this video, and I figured maybe you could, just give your opinion about it.
So it's a 3-minute video. So let's we're gonna watch it, and we'll talk a little bit.
You can dissect it
through,
whenever.
But we'll dissect it afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't you go ahead and hit start there, Boudreaux?
Back in 1992, an older friend of my father who was from St. Louis asked me to go to this meeting that the Communist Party USA was having at the University of California, Berkeley. And he had studied communism and written books about communism back in the 60s and stuff. And he was curious because if you'll remember back in 1989, the Berlin Wall had come down and everyone was saying communism is dead, it's over. Then in 91, in December, the Soviet Union dissolved. And so this is 6 months later, the summer of 92, and the Communist Party USA is having a meeting. So he asked me to go out to this meeting. He said, would you go out there and just see what they're talking about? Because we won. This thing's over. And so I went to that, and for 3 days I sat there in breakout sessions and lectures and listened to these hardcore communists. And one thing shocking about it, too, I thought it'd be college radical since it was at Berkeley. So I dressed like a college radical with some radical t-shirt on. So
but I mean,
I walk
sense.
into the
Makes sense.
auditorium. There's 14 or 1,500 50, 60, and 70-year-olds with briefcases. And I thought, whoa, this is actually serious. It's not just some radicals. And many of those exact people, as I researched them later, ended up being in Obama's cabinet in 2008. And that's what motivated me to make the movie, because I realized, wait, these are the people that were at this communist meeting with me back in 1992. But at that meeting, they laid out this plan, how they wanted to take America down from the inside. They were going to focus all their energies on that now. They'd been focusing on it for a while, but they realized they could never outspend America because capitalism and free enterprise is so successful. And they that woke them up. Okay, we got to go to plan B. They just keep building more and more. And of course, we had all the years of Reagan where he'd really built the military up. So they realized we're in trouble here. And so that's what they talked about, the mean, how they were going to do that from the inside. And I didn't think that much about it, went on with my life. But then again, 16 years later in 2008 from 92, when I remembered what they had talked about, like one thing that is so clear how it had changed. They had said back in 92, we're going to use the environmental movement to take down the free enterprise system in America. And in 92, that didn't make sense because that was not a big movement. It was literally people, chaining themselves to trees in Oregon so they can't cut them down. I mean, it was nothing. And so I was like, how would you do that? But in 2008, An Inconvenient Truth by Al Gore had come out. It was the biggest movement in the world, and it still is, because they realized it's the ultimate vehicle for totalitarian control.
Yeah,
because
that's
it's
true.
a global problem, so it demands global solutions by a global government. That's the way they look at it. So that's why that issue will never go away, no matter how many facts we have and how many charts we can show them. Hey, it's not going up, and if it went up a little bit, it actually would be good. Warm is the friend of life. Cold is the enemy of life. All the logical things that they don't. But from that, I wrote a letter when I was a representative on that communist meeting in 1992, and it just blew up into a huge thing. And one of the men that responded to that and said, what Representative Bauer says is true, but it's nothing new. That's not from 1992. It was all written in a book in 1958. And I got to know the man, and it was, of course, the book, The Naked Communist. And it had the 45 current communist goals as of the 1950s in America. And I got that book for the first time in 2008, so 50 years later. And I read through the list of goals. And as I did, I couldn't believe how specific and how purposeful and how premeditated the collapse of our country had been. It had been people and groups for 100 years working to take us down from within. And I couldn't believe, as I read through these things, one of them, Goal 17, this is from 50s America. Get control of the schools, use them as transmission belts for socialism, soften the curriculum.
Okay.
So just with that video, like I said, I know you're way better at this than I am, but I saw that video and I was like, holy shit. Like that's literally what's happening, So what are your thoughts?
Well, my first thought was this.
Yeah.
He was talking about going to this meeting in 1992, 16 years later, being there, those people were involved in Obama's cabinet. And I'm just sitting here thinking, he said they were 50, 60, 70-year-olds. And I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense because our government is
Dying.
controlled by these freaking old ass people. I was thinking,
Yeah,
God,
yeah.
how old are these people, man? But the second thing I thought of is I'm just like, this guy's not saying anything new.
No,
like,
he's not.
This has been common knowledge since I was in my early 20s. Like this was common
our
knowledge,
early 20s, yeah.
right? So everything he said is not wrong. It is interesting that he went to a meeting and he's speaking from actually an experience of actually doing this. But everything he's saying, you can actually read the goals of the communists. That has been their
Naked
goal.
Communists, I think.
The Naked Communists, which is one of the big books that does it. But the fall of the Soviet Union didn't end communism. Communism was exported into academia. Academia has been the main vehicle of movement in it. And the environmental movement, he is right. It used to be really small. It was these people who were just wanting to prevent deforestation.
Yeah,
But now it's been twisted and lied to these younger people who have no purpose. This is why I like Vivek Ramaswamy, is because he want to give younger people purpose again in the world, so that way they don't get indoctrinated to these lies that these things happen, right? Global warming is a phenomenon that is happening. We are still coming out of the last ice age. We should be getting warmer. That is completely factually true.
Okay.
But with us moving warmer, does it actually? There's two questions we got to ask. Is it negatively impact our world? No, it doesn't. Actually, warmer planet. He said it himself, and he's not wrong. A warmer planet is actually beneficial for our planet. The second question we got to ask is, what is the cause of it getting warmer? And what I find interesting is that these people are so arrogant that they think that the human footprint is such a huge thing, that we are so important that we can affect something such as the climate on the scale of an entire world. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not arrogant enough to believe that humans are the direct cause of this. Do we have an input? Sure, we have an input. But is that input greater than the sun? Is that input greater than natural developments, right? I'm not arrogant enough to believe that. So all it is just a means to incorporate younger people who are looking for a purpose in order to facilitate their dream of having a totalitarian global regime.
Yep.
So yeah.
Like I said, I just wanted to. I know your thoughts on it. I thought it was,
it's absolutely asinine. And he did. I did like how he brought in where they have to do it from the shadows. They're going to have to do it from within. Capture the academia. Start changing the way people are believing and thinking. Right.
Yeah.
In 2023, we are at a point in human history where socialism should not be a desired outcome. Yet it is one of the most desired outcomes of our younger people. Our age,
it's mind-boggling, really.
It is, because as bad as the Nazis, everyone likes to say the Nazis are bad, horrible.
Yeah,
and I'm not disagreeing with you. Nazis were horrible. They killed a crap ton of people. There, but the amount of people that they killed, compared to the amount of Stalin and Mussolini and communism, Maoist China, it's a baby. Compared to those guys, socialism, communism has killed more people in history than any other political belief system.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it should not be as well. We got to fly down here again.
We got a friend.
Yeah. It should not be as prevalent as it is in today's society, and the simple fact that it is a testament to how well these guys have embedded themselves into academia and have spread this falsehood.
Yep.
So,
see? Well said.
Goddamn.
No, dude, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, because you're way, like I said, you're way better explaining the politics and stuff than I am. So, like, I knew what I was trying to get across, but then when you explained it, like, it was a lot better than I could have done.
Fair. So,
All right, what's this next one? This is your pick.
yeah, my pick. 7 deceitful ways women lie about cheating. So this is Donovan Sharp. Have you ever listened to Donovan Sharp?
The name sounds familiar, but I'm sure once I hear his voice.
He's a smart man. But we have already touched base. We know that women cheat more than men cheat, even though society likes to say that men cheat more.
You dogs.
No, it's easier for women to pull a sexual partner than it is for a man to pull a sexual partner, right? That being the case, women do cheat at a higher rate than men cheat.
Hey, even in didn't we look it up the other day? Even in lesbian couples.
Well, that's a domestic violence.
Oh, that was domestic violence.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. So you guys beat up more women than we do.
Yeah. So it's interesting. But so there's 7 deceitful ways. So we're just going to hit through all 7 of these, and we'll stop and after each one and talk about it.
7 deceitful ways.
I've never listened to this. I'd like to hear what he says. I respect him. I think he's a smart man. So
let's hear it.
let's see what he has to say.
Stories sound rehearsed. This is where paying attention and establishing that baseline I talked about earlier comes in handy. If you ask her how her day was, and she says something like, "Work was same old, Kevin in the sales department got on my nerves, but he got off early, so I didn't have to deal with him anymore. I went to lunch with Carol, and I had a Cobb salad. She had a chicken quesadilla with sour cream on the side and a Coke with lime in it. The traffic sucked, but I listened to the Girls Today podcast for about 48 minutes, so that helped pass the time, and now I'm here with you, hot stuff." Now, if this is the way she usually describes her day, cool. There are some women out there that give you every single detail every single time, but most women don't give this much detail. And if this is out of the ordinary, and let's be honest, it is, it's because she rehearsed it, meaning that's not how her day went. A good way to find out for sure is to ask her again later on, and if she uses the exact same wording, meaning she tells you about the Cobb salad, the chicken quesadilla with sour cream, and Kevin in sales getting off work early, they were definitely rehearsed. Well, wait a minute, Donovan. If she gives you the exact same details, wouldn't that mean she's telling the truth? Absolutely not. And here's why. If you ask someone the same question 2 different times, they'll give you the same answer, but they never use the same words or details verbatim.
Exactly.
Women always tell on themselves when they give you exactly the same story verbatim. But most guys don't realize she's lying because he thinks, okay, she gave me the exact same story, so she must be telling me the truth. Another way to know if she's rehearsed her lines is if her enunciations and voice cadence are different from what they normally are in her baseline. Again, guys, this is where paying attention comes into play. Number 2, she repeats what she says to emphasize.
That's
actually
spot on.
That is spot on. Spot on. Freaking, he broke that down well.
He
man.
did. He did.
So I will say that you've been cheated on. I've been cheated on.
Absolutely.
And one of the biggest reasons why things started like clicking was because of the lies, right? Yeah. Because you could tell, like you said, the baseline. So what we skip past that part, but basically you can ascertain what he's talking about is you should know your woman well enough, right? Like a baseline conversation. Yeah. So if she's changing the way she's talking, you should be able to pick up on that. And I know that was the first indicator that, hey, there was something wrong.
See, the first indicator with me was eye contact and the rest of body language. Yep. It was like,
yeah, right.
Well, you got on the side, girl.
Yeah. So the funny thing is women do lie a lot, but they're so bad at lying. It's very easy to pick up when they're starting to lie to you.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I think that goes for. That can go opposite way too. For a woman that's actually being honest with her significant other, I mean, men are gonna fucking trip themselves up just as likely, you know.
Well, so it can. But see, here's the thing: the reason why I think men are better liars, and there's a reason why men are better liars, is because women fall in love with what they hear, so men have to lie, right?
Yeah, I can see that.
So I'm not saying men are perfect at lying.
No. I'm not saying that
I think
either.
we're a little bit better at it. We don't usually get caught.
It's not something that we're promoting.
No, definitely not. I did like how he basically said that like the guys can't tell that she's lying or don't give it much thought.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know if I agree. That's the only part I didn't necessarily know if I agree with. The reason why I might not disagree with that is I think the guys can tell that they're lying, but guys want to believe that
Yeah, they want to believe that their
Right.
person's being faithful or whatnot.
So they're compounding it by lying to themselves, I think.
Yeah.
I could be
I could
wrong.
see
I
that.
could be wrong.
Yeah,
but that's
dude.
just kind of my
Why
thought.
don't you guys tell us what you think about that? All right, next. My favorite number, 2.
The lie. Let me give you a quick scenario here. Let's say you ask your girl, did you and Lisa have fun at the mall? And let's say she answers, yeah, we definitely did. We went to Forever 21 and spent way too much money, but it was totally worth it. We ate at this Chinese place in the food court and ended up at Macy's. We spent so much money at Forever 21, but it was so worth it. We were there for so long, we had to get out of there before we spent our entire paychecks. In this example, your girl wants you to believe that the reason she took so long is because her and Lisa spent a lot of time at Forever 21. The reason she wants to drive this point home is to reassure you that she wasn't getting plowed by Dave, the unemployed garage band guitar player, who may or may not have an illegitimate kid with his ex-girlfriend's mother, so she mentions it multiple times thinking that repeating it over and over will convince you it's true.
Power of 3.
If she repeats something in her story at least once, she's definitely covering something up. And by something, I mean getting pounded out by Dave. Number 3, she
Pause it.
quote-unquote hates...
Oh, God. That's
Get pounded out
awesome.
by Dave.
probably in the fucking parking lot, too. You know what I mean?
Oh,
I
God.
just-
So this dude is hitting it home right now
nailed
because
that.
so he's doing 2 things. One is he's telling you a very important thing, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
right. You said it yourself. Powers of 3. If you
Yep,
start
yep.
repeating yourself, that is usually you're trying to drive home that and shift focus onto that, so there's no other questions over in this gray area.
Yep,
Right. 100% accurate as hell. But the next thing he's doing is he's being a comedian about it.
Yeah, he's bringing it to you a way that you're going to understand, you know, in a joke joke format.
And it drives the point home even
Yes,
better.
it does, dude. It nails it.
I'm gonna give you a slow clap on that.
Oh,
one,
shit,
buddy.
he got the golf
Fucking
clap.
God damn, that was good.
I loved it, dude. I was laughing on the inside. I was laughing. I didn't want to ruin the video.
Go ahead, bud.
Run it.
One so much. Let's go back to that first example
yeah.
when your girlfriend told you that Kevin was getting on
this
her
one's
nerves. The reason she does this is to throw you off the scent. She wants you to think, man, she really hates that a-hole Kevin, so you will have no idea that she wants to sleep with him or is sleeping with him. Gentlemen, you need to listen very carefully when your woman talks about a man she can't stand. I can't stand Justin at the coffee shop. Tommy is such an a-hole. This creepy guy at my job looks like a pervert. These are the musings of a female with wet panties, and she's trying to convince you there's no way she'd ever do anything with these guys. But the more a woman talks about how much she doesn't want to hook up with him, the more she indeed wants to hook up with him. He's too short. He's married. He's ugly. Guys, none of that matters. She thinks enough of this guy to mention him to you multiple times. Besides, how does she know Kevin left work early if he's in another department? Which leads me to number 4.
Pause
She
it.
gets irritated when you...
How does she know?
So I love how he's like keeping this very consistent, and again hitting a really good point that to pay attention to, and still being a comedian. This is hilarious.
He said her panties are wet. Man, that's cold blooded, dog.
That was. Oh gosh.
I wonder if he's actually he knows this by experience, or just stuff that he's like learned about reading about, or he's like has his own experiences in the situation.
So I don't know much about his background in regards to that, but I would say that in general, most men who gain this knowledge
Yeah.
is gaining it firsthand.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would put odds on favorites that this is firsthand experience with him.
That's so funny.
God dang.
That was funny. All right, let's number 4.
quiz her on the details. So let's say you ask your girl, well, how do you know Kevin left early? And she responds with, that's a silly question. We work at the same company. Then you follow up with, yeah, but he works in the sales department and you work in accounting. That's on the other side of the building.
Gonna start getting
If she
defensive.
gets irritated and responds with something like, Donovan, we work for the same company. Everybody knows when everybody gets off, then she is definitely hiding something. If she gets pissed off, upset, or irritated when you ask for more information, she is 745% lying about something, at which
Be
point you need
precise.
to quiz her hard for more information. And I'll tell you a quick personal story. I was dating this beautiful Ukrainian girl when I lived in Vegas. Her name was Tatiana. She had a long,
that's so
platinum
funny.
blonde hair and the most gorgeous, steely, light blue eyes I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, we dated for a little over 6 months, and one evening I
This
video
answers my
called her
question.
because that's what we always did when we didn't spend the night with each other. Well, this one particular night, it took her a little longer than it should have for her to answer. And when she did, she was on her balcony, somewhere she had never answered a video call from me before. What's more is that she was just closing her back door to her balcony when she picked up. So that told me she did not want to take the call inside. I immediately got suspicious and asked her why she took the call from her balcony. She told me because she wanted to smoke a cigarette. Now, even though she smoked like a chimney, I didn't believe her. So I told her to put the cigarette out and go back inside to talk to me. She said, "You're starting to irritate me." I said, "I don't care. Put out the cigarette and go back inside." She said, "Why?" I said, "Because I think you've got someone in your apartment and you don't want him to know you're talking to me." She said, "Don't be ridiculous. There's no one in my apartment." So I said, "Prove it." So she angrily puts out her cigarette and went back into her apartment, but just inside the back door. I said, "Tell me you love me." She said quietly, "I love you." I paused for a minute because I didn't expect her to actually say it. It didn't hit me that she had whispered it yet. So she took that opportunity to say with an attitude, "What?" As if to imply that she had just proved her innocence. I said, "Walk into your living room and say it louder." She hung up and blocked my number. Long story short, I thought I was her boyfriend. But the entire time,
Coach.
I was the side dude. She was cheating on her boyfriend with me for more than 6 months. The point is that she started to get irritated when I quizzed her on the details and pressed her on her to prove she wasn't lying, which is always a telltale sign she's up to no good. Number
Pies.
5,
Pies.
her alibi.
Pies. So
That was good. That was good.
So that makes it way more relatable when he says
Yeah.
this actually happened, right? How many times have you ever ended up figuring out that you're the side piece?
Yeah, yeah.
I figured that out twice.
I figured
And
it out a couple times. I'm like, well, you could have just told me.
yeah, it changes.
no, I'd be
right?
like, all right.
So I think women view relationships the same way that they think men view relationships the same way as they view them, right?
Yeah.
So, like, if you're gonna treat me, if I'm gonna be your side piece, you let me know up front. Fucking cool.
It'll be professional, you
Right,
know what I
because
mean?
because then you know the boundaries, right? Then
Yeah.
then you kind of have the playbook of what you need to play inside
Yeah,
of, right?
right.
But if you're thinking, hey, fuck it, I'm actually dating, I'm your boyfriend,
Yeah.
and come to find out that would piss me off more, and you could actually see it in him when he was retelling that story.
Well,
he was pissed.
yeah. He had a little emotion
Well,
behind that. Yeah.
I shouldn't say he was pissed. He looked pissed to me. That's my interpretation.
Yeah.
You know.
But I bet you during that moment when that was happening
Yeah.
to him, he was fucking livid. That's why he was like, go to the living room.
So this opens up a really interesting question. Have you ever quizzed your significant other or someone that you're dating?
Yeah, I've done that before.
Okay. I would recommend that any man in a relationship, you should periodically quiz.
Or
right?
you know what I say? Hey, can I see your cell phone?
Yeah.
Can I see your Snapchat?
Yeah.
You know, your Facebook messages. Do
Yep.
you care?
So,
And
well, see, and my thing is, I would prefer, if we're going to be long term, I would prefer that you get rid of that stuff
Yeah.
altogether. Right? And it's not because it's more or less a protection feature, right?
Mm-hmm.
For her.
mine.
It's not a territorial thing. It's a
It is for
protection
me.
feature. Well, I mean, theoretically, it's territorial as well, but
Yeah.
it's a protection thing, right? Because you want her to be wholesome and pure, right?
Yeah.
So you don't need stupid men
No.
ragging on her and doing anything like. So
I get what you're saying.
yeah. But yeah, I think that's one really good point that he's bringing up is you should quiz, like, and if
Yeah.
something is wrong, it behooves you not to let it step to the side and just back down, right?
Well, and the
if
thing-
you're going to be the leader in the relationship, you need to call it out.
Yeah.
Do not care if you're going to irritate.
You know
her.
what? And if you didn't care, that would show something. All right, I don't even give a shit. Like whatever, you know what I mean. But if you do care about somebody, then you want to know those answers.
Yep.
You know, that's
Yep.
how I look at it.
Yeah. So I mean, you should quiz, and you should not be afraid to put your foot down. Like, hey, no, you go do this.
Yeah.
And if that is the end of it, if they get to the point where they hang
block
up
you.
on you and block your number, fuck it, dude, you dodged a bullet.
Yeah, dude, you won, coach.
Yeah. So
All right, let's do this. Her alibi is too specific.
Is too specific. This is what happens when your suspicions are too high not to remain silent. You don't want to be the guy who's asking your woman, where were you, who were you with, and what were you doing?
Yeah.
Now, if you vetted and trained her properly, you'll never have to do this. But
Pause-
because
pause real quick,
almost
dude.
0 men vet and train properly,
So
Let's hear it.
I'm going to throw out the word train right now because he's saying training properly, right? So this is one of the red pill terms that I don't necessarily care for, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he's wrong because I understand what he's trying to say.
Yeah.
But by training, you make her sound like an
Inferior.
animal, right?
Yeah,
Inferior, right?
I agree with you.
So I would behoove you, don't try training, try coaching,
Or
right?
communicating.
Coaching is the better way to say that because she is a human. She deserves the dignity and respect. It's not training, it's coaching.
Facts.
So
110%.
it was just one of those points where let's hit that real quick.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
Let's not be chauvinistic here.
No, absolutely not.
So,
all right,
go
run
ahead.
it.
The urge to ask this question will hit them at some point. Now, when she's been sleeping with Dave, the unemployed garage band guitar player who may or may not have done amateur adult films, she'll know you're going to quiz her on her whereabouts because she had her phone off for the last 3 hours. She's already got her cover story memorized, and when she tells you, she'll be extremely detailed in her explanation. So when you ask her, "Where the hell have you been?" she'll respond with, "Well, I left here at 3, I got to Lisa's at like 3:15, from there we went to the mall and went to Forever 21. We spent 2 hours there, then we got hungry and ate at Panda Express at the food court till like 5:30. After that, we went to Macy's and spent a half an hour there. I dropped her off at 6:15, and now I'm here." That's a BS alibi,
Right.
guys. That detail, the timeline, the exact times, all that is a dead giveaway that she's lying. Girls will also try to overcompensate by giving very little detail so their alibi sounds more believable. Unless she's BPD or Dark Triad, her cover story will either have too much or too little information. Like I said, you never have to memorize the truth. So if your girl's alibi is too detailed or not detailed enough, she is definitely lying. Number 6,
Pause.
she makes too much eye contact.
So that is interesting,
That's-
right? Because there are two extremes, right?
Yeah,
He's saying
yeah,
if you give too specific or too general, right? So
And I think
it-
most people can tell.
yeah, most people can tell on that one. So I mean,
I would hope most people could tell.
yeah. If you think that they're telling you the truth when they say, "Oh yeah, I dropped her off at 6:15,"
Right?
I like his
Bitch,
detail.
you got an
on-
itinerary? What the?
I like his detail when he goes on Dave.
Yeah,
like Donovan.
Dave's a pimp?
like obviously, right? But my question is Donovan, did this Dave fuck you up, bro?
I know, dude. You got a thing against Dave, man.
I'm just like
The unemployed garage band or whatever. What did he say?
amateur adult film star. Like what the
Oh,
fuck, man?
man. All right. Next.
Telling her story. Before my girlfriend started working for me, I used to ask her how her day was when she got home from the office. And when she told me, she rarely made eye contact with me because we were both doing other things. She's making dinner and is back and forth between the kitchen and the dining room, and I'd be on the couch playing Candy Crush trying to decompress after being on the air. This was our normal routine. When you and your girl are having standard conversations like, "How was your day?" there is little to no eye contact being made. But when she makes too much eye contact, she's trying to gauge a reaction to see if you're buying her story.
Yep.
So when she tells you the story about Kevin getting on her nerves and the Cobb salad with Carol and all the rest of that, and doesn't break eye contact, that is a major sign she's lying. Most girls give themselves away even more by maintaining eye contact to make sure you buy the story. The best way to handle this is to make expressions that make her think you don't believe her. Things like furrowing your brow or crossing your arms will make her nervous. When you do this, she'll get louder, more descriptive, and more panicky. She'll try harder and harder to convince you she's telling the truth. And when that happens, it becomes obvious to the both of you that she is not. Number 7.
Pause it. So I'm going to break this down real quick.
Run it.
Men are very bad at reading social cues.
Yeah.
So, which is one reason why men typically are like wanting to believe it, right? Is because we don't understand the human body language, right? As well as women do.
No, yeah, I agree with that part.
So he just basically gave you a crash course in human body language.
Yeah.
So that
I'm just really bad at like when like a woman's hitting on me, I don't fucking get it. I'm like, what?
yeah,
But like when we were having a conversation, shit like that, you can usually figure it out.
yeah, right. Because his way of describing it was pretty dang easy to figure out.
Yeah.
However, I mean, you got to take it at the nuance level, which is he's giving you body language cues
Yeah.
that you should be paying attention to as a man.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So he's doing you guys all a service and actually breaking that down like he did right there, because those are true. Right.
Y'all should come subscribe to this dude.
Most people don't actually maintain eye contact when it's just a normal conversation.
Yeah.
It's usually eye contact when you're trying to drive home a serious point.
Fair.
So that's true. body language of furrowing the brow and whatnot, that actually is indications to the people that you're communicating that either A, you're not trusting them, or you're unwilling to be listening to them and stuff like that. So it can cause reactions.
Yeah.
So if you do these things in order to elicit a reaction and see how it plays out, he's giving you a lot of game on this one. That's actually really cool of him.
Yep. All right. Last one.
She uses honesty words. For example, honestly, or to be perfectly honest, or trust me. So your girl is making too much eye contact. Your face gives her the impression that you're not buying her story about Carol and her quesadilla, and she starts to panic. Well, she's not going to break script and say, "Don't you believe me?" Oh no. Instead, she'll involuntarily start using honesty words. So let's go through this again. So you ask her, "How was your day?" And she immediately locks eyes with you and starts her story. "Work was same old, same old. Kevin got on my nerves, but he got off early, so I didn't have to deal with him." Now, being aware of who and what Kevin is and how girls try to badmouth guys they really want to sleep with to give you the impression that he's not a threat, you furrow your brow and cross your arms. So now she starts to panic a little and continues. "Trust me, I was so glad he left early. Anyway, I went to lunch with Carol, and honestly, I wanted to get a burger, but I went with the salad so I could stay thin for you. Carol got a chicken quesadilla with sour cream and a Coke, and to be perfectly honest with you, I told her she needs to watch her diet if she wants to keep her boyfriend. At this point, you're not giving her any impression that you're buying her story, so she escalates more and continues. Trust me, Donovan, the traffic sucked, but I listened to the Girls Today podcast, and that helped pass the time. And honestly, I'm so glad I'm here with you." The only time people use these words and phrases is if it's a verbal tick. I have several. For instance, I like to say "listen" or "here's the thing" and so forth. But Donovan, how do you know it's not a verbal tick with your woman? Easy. Pay attention and establish a baseline, which is exactly what I told you earlier. If you pick up on these verbal ticks early on, fine, we all have them. But if all of a sudden she starts using honesty words and it's not something she normally does, she is 618% BSing you. When people are honest, they don't have to tell you they're being honest. It's that simple. So guys, what's the most diabolical way a woman's ever lied to you? And ladies, why do you... Never mind, you'll probably lie about that too, so keep your thoughts to yourself. Now, I've got 3 more bonus signs that are most definitely not safe for YouTube. So if you want to know what the last 3 deceptive ways women lie and how to spot them, become a patron now at patreon.com/DonovanSharp and get these bonus signs.
All right. That was funny.
Wow, 618%. Well, motherfucker got this down to a science.
Yeah, dude, no doubt. Well,
Oh,
I mean, he got. I'm
So-
kind of curious what the other 3 are that he.
I'm kind of curious as well. But the honesty words that he was talking about right at the end. So actually, this is actually something to deal with whenever you're dealing with anyone,
Anybody.
opposite sex or same sex, business setting, family setting, whatever. Honesty words typically start to anytime that someone says honestly, this is how it is or whatever.
Yeah.
That's when you need to start like, okay, why? Because why would you be deceitful? Why you don't need to
you don't need to
quantify
emphasize
that,
on it.
right? You don't need to qualify it. We already you're telling me like, hey, you might not trust me, so I need to make sure. But why would you know?
I need to
it just gives
reaffirm to you that I'm being honest.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I get it. That was funny.
that was awesome. Shout off to Donovan Sharp. I like his beard,
Donovan
man.
Sharp.
You motherfucker's got a good beard.
Fucking gangster.
God damn, he did
But
good.
what was his name? Dave, man. What did he do? Hey, dog.
Yeah, kind of want to know.
I'm curious. And Kevin? Was it Kevin?
Nah,
Kevin and Dave.
Kevin was the guy that he was doing, but Dave,
Dave is the mastermind behind it all.
Kevin was the bitch, but Dave was, man, there was some ire behind Dave. I don't get it.
You guys have a good one.
Peace. Thank you for watching. Please give us a like, share, and subscribe. Till then, peace.